block down the street from Walter Gordon's house right now, and we've been following him for most of the past 3 days.
So, was I right? Wren's inner predator came through loud and clear. Not sure yet, I admitted. It could be embezzlement like you suspect. The books look like they've been messed with, I know, and I don't doubt it, but I don't think the money you're missing adds up to what we're seeing.
Unless he's been skimming profits for a lot longer than you originally thought, Hudson inserted.
I scrunched up my nose. Honestly, I don't think this guy is that smart. I mean, little changes over time are a lot harder to see. A few new expensive pieces of jewelry, a couple of new designer outfits, maybe eventually a car and later a house. But this guy did everything at once. How does he think that won't raise flags? Which is exactly what it did. Wren might own multiple businesses, but he had his ears to the ground in each one of them. When he'd heard about Walter's change of address to a house he shouldn't have been able to afford, he'd gone looking for the why and the how, and then he'd come to us. Anyway, none of my research has pointed at any other source of funds. He lives alone, he hasn't inherited anything, and he doesn't have any other jobs. So, if he didn't steal the money from me, where is he getting it? That's the million-dollar question, so to speak. Wren sighed. I need to know, as soon as possible. I glanced at Hud. I get the idea of him stealing from you sucks, but why the rush? I've got an offer on the business. I want to accept it, reduce my portfolio. But I can't risk selling something that's going to bring unwanted attention from people wearing blue and shiny badges. Fair enough. No one in the paranormal community wanted the authorities to look too closely at them. Ever. So, my accountants and I will continue reviewing the books, and you two determine Mr. Gordon's involvement. Hudson sat up straighter.
Here we go.
Our subject emerged from the house and trotted down the stairs to his car, looking for all the world like he didn't have a single worry weighing him down. He jumped into the car, put the top down, and smiled at the sun. At least someone was enjoying it. Wren, I'll call you back. Don't let Hudson distract you again. No promises. I clicked the phone off. Hudson pulled out and followed at a discreet distance, using those surveillance skills he'd honed as a detective for the Toronto police. I snapped a few shots of the car with my phone, zooming in to make sure I captured Walter's face when he turned a corner in front of us. There was no indication he knew he was being followed. I tried to emulate Hudson's calm, focused demeanor, but there was a reason I'd never become a cop. Okay, mostly because I'd died in 1933 and trying to explain my everlasting youth to my colleagues would have been beyond difficult, but still. Walter led us on surface streets to a not-so-nice area of town. It wasn't necessarily bad, but it wouldn't be a place I'd be eager to visit on my own after dark, and I could turn into a ghost, so that was saying something. He stopped in front of a sketchy-looking Chinese restaurant called Danny Fortune's that looked pretty unused to customers, and Hudson drove on by.
Keep watching,
he ordered. I did so as Hudson chose a side street, executed a perfect three-point turn, and popped back out onto the street with the restaurant. He pulled over about a block back, but Walter had disappeared. His Miata still had its top down, daring in this area, which meant he probably wasn't going to be long. Hudson shot me a grin.
Tag. You're it.
Finally, something to do. I slipped into the other plane, the realm of ghosts. My realm in a lot of ways. It was the buffer between the living plane and the beyond, which was something like the afterlife, heaven, hell, whatever, all blended into one. An analogy I liked was that the living plane was like the jam in a filled donut, the other plane was the donut, and the beyond was everything out there ready to chew its way through the batter. Graphic, but it worked. I walked across the street, ignoring the car that drove through me. The person driving it was a blob of shadows, which was how all living creatures looked to me in this plane. Inanimate objects were the same, though, so it was easy to find Walter's car and the restaurant. I peeked in through the front window to make sure the coast was relatively clear for me to slip into the place. Despite the mid-afternoon sunshine, the interior of the restaurant was dark and uninviting. All the better for questionable activities. I hated the feeling of walking through walls, but man, it made my job damned easy. Danny Fortune's had seen better days. Better decades, most likely.